Hey, welcome back, you guys. Welcome to another episode of Marvin's Room. I'm here live at Kboo 90.7 FM. Tonight, I got a special array of guests tonight. I think you guys would like, selectively picked by me. So tonight, I got a guest with me. She's my co-host for the night. Her name is Demetria Monroe. So, I met her a long time ago, maybe like 10 years ago. We was on a set of Leverage, just doing a scene. And now she have strived to a lot of different things. And Demetria, tell the people who you are and a little about yourself and what you're doing in 2018.
All right, my name is Demetria Monroe. My Instagram is Demetria Monroe Official, if you'd like to follow me. This year, my plans for 2018, I would like to do a photo shoot with Julian James Wilde. I also have, a lot of people don't know that I sing. I'm very much into singing.
What kind of singing?
Vocally, like as a singer.
Are you R&B?
I haven't really put myself in a category, but if I could give a vibe, it would be like Aaliyah mixed with Sade, so it's very
kind of smooth,
yes,
kind of beats.
Very
okay,
smooth.
nice vocals.
Yes, so I met some music producers by the name of Andrew Woods and Matthew with Puddletown Studios, and they want me to work on an EP with them.
Okay.
So that's something that's going to be in the works. As far as like videographers, I have a very, very favorite videographer. His name
Who's
is
that?
Martin Van London.
Okay.
And we...
Shouts out.
Yes, shout out to Martin. We have some very dope visuals that will be along the way. So a lot of big things for 2018 coming up that I'm very excited for.
Okay.
So
I'll be looking for the single.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so we got a guest on tonight on Crate Diggers. We got the first guest, Stephen Slappe. Hey, Stephen, how's it going tonight?
Good.
That's good. That's
Thanks
good.
for inviting me, Marvin.
No problem. You want to give yourself a little introduction and tell people who's listening in a little bit about yourself, what you do currently, and what you're trying to do for 2018?
All right. I am an artist and professor here in Portland. I teach at Pacific Northwest College of Art, PNCA, normally, but I'm on sabbatical this year, so that means I have the year off and they still pay me.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Half
That's
the
always
money
good.
Anyway.
Yeah.
But instead of just taking the year off, I'm running an alternative education program out of Open Signal, Community Media Center on MLK.
Nice.
And it's called Future Forum. And at Future Forum, it's a group of 9 artists that I'm working with who work with film, video installation, writing and sound, St. James being one of them.
Yeah. St. James, shout out.
So I spend time with them every week, making artwork, developing curriculum and classes that will go out into a variety of communities to teach people how to use video cameras, sound recording equipment, all sorts of stuff.
What's something you want to teach this year that you haven't taught before for 2018?
2018. There's nothing I want to be taught more in 2018.
Okay. Do that.
That's every year.
Nice. So you brought some vinyl.
I did.
What do you got? What did you bring?
Right. Well, as I said, I'm a professor, so that means I think it just implies that I am a nerd. So I do a lot of crate digging. Fits the episode very well. So when Marvin invited me,
how do you pick them though? Do you just like go by the cover or?
No. Well, I have a lot of ways of doing it over the years. Something like this James Brown album that I brought from 1971 is something that I sort of would seek out.
How do you know you got a good one though? Do you just like?
Well, this all it has to do. If it says James Brown on it, it's a good one.
Especially his song "Papa Don't Take No Mess."
Right?
Yes.
No, No, I take a lot of chances. I buy a lot of cheap records. So at this point,
Okay.
I've collected records long enough that I've got like all the cool stuff that I want. And now it's more like, what is this like weird acetate or like, 45 or something like that you might not even be able to find anywhere else. Just like more like I don't know, musicology or something like that. Sort of like looking for more obscure stuff.
Okay, the extra rare.
Yeah.
Okay, I dig that. Do you ever look at the condition of it? Just be like, oh, this is kind of nice. It's kind of beat up, but I can still play this.
Yeah. I take some chances. There's a single I have right now. I found it's by. In fact, maybe even mentioning it on here might bring some light to it. I found it at a thrift store.
Yeah.
Just put out by someone locally, a guy named Bobby Africa with a K.
Oh.
And it was like a self-produced 45. The one I got is really scratched up, but it'll play all the way through. Really wonderful song, singing. And I can't find any information about it. I've never seen another copy of it. But
Who published it?
It was here in Portland. It was put out. The record company, which I'm assuming is just one that he made himself, was called Revelation Records.
Wow.
Yeah. So anyone, Bobby Africa, if anyone knows
Hopefully
this
he's
single,
listening.
Right.
please, yeah.
Right.
I want a better copy of that record.
That is so awesome, and it's with a K. Very awesome. Wow. Cool.
Yeah. Okay, guys, we're going to tune out for a little bit, but we will be back. Guys, welcome back. We got James Brown playing with the Hot Pants. So, Stephen, tell us a little bit about this. Why did you pick this track?
The track is called Escapism, Part 1.
Okay.
And it's good. And I picked it just because I had been listening to it.
Yeah.
I sort of took a cue from the last show Marvin and I were on together. And I thought it would be a good thing because it's a crate digging adventure for me. It's one of those things where I knew through samples before I heard the original.
Yeah. So what's the story behind it? How did you get that in your hands?
I got this in my hands because I heard Public Enemy in 1988, Don't Believe the Hype.
Yeah.
And the sample is in there, and Big Daddy Kane, Raw. Right,
Okay.
that has that squelching like saxophone sound.
Yeah.
And it was the first time I ever heard anything like that. Like, because I didn't, I never heard free jazz. I'd never heard anything that had that Coltrane, nothing that had that kind of stuff in it.
Yeah.
So I was like, what? It sounded like someone holding a balloon and letting the air out of it, But I was also really into like noise music and tape music and punk and stuff like that. So for me, it was
first
like
vinyl.
Vinyl. That's a good question. I would say it's a Black Sabbath album when I was a kid.
Okay.
Yeah.
Rocking out.
Yeah. But yeah, so anyway, I just went backwards from there. It's like, where does that sound come from? And I started to trace it backwards. As I mentioned before, I'm pretty nerdy, so it's like that's the kind of stuff I get into. Follow that kind of trail.
Oh, got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Back to the source.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, the cover is it's like a what? What is that, like a star kind of? Like?
Yeah. Like it's got this sort of lens flare coming off the microphone.
I love how that one sound just drew you to it, and then you just went and searched to, find it.
And I originally brought this 45 too, and that's what I originally found. And this was released on People Records, which is James Brown's label. That's the first thing he ever released on it. Was this 45.
Oh, that's exclusive.
Wow. Yes, very much so. Wow.
I like that.
Yes.
What would you say is your top 3 vinyls?
Oh man, that's a tough question. That changes from day to day.
Doesn't it with music? Period?
Yeah,
it really
yeah.
always depends on your mood.
Oh man, I dig for a lot of records too. So right now I've been really into these. As I said, I'm into these kind of like more obscure like acetates and things like that. So that Bobby Africa 45, if I can mention that again. Does anyone know Bobby Africa?
You are really wanting to
I'm
find
looking
my
for
God.
Bobby Africa.
I have a
It's so
feeling
good.
you're gonna find him by just putting it out into the
That's right.
universe.
And I'm gonna I'll seek all of you out and play it for you too, and you'll thank me. It's so good.
Wow.
But I would say that 45, and then I found some acetates of interviews of Jelly Roll Morton talking about the birth of jazz in New Orleans.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Very powerful.
Nice.
To hear the birth of jazz. That, wow.
I got some samples right there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very cool.
I wonder, can that play the 45? I'm not really.
It can, but I have to say my copy of it is pretty beat up. It might be hard on the listeners.
Oh, got you. But that's nice. So I get to actually see it. Okay.
It is just to see it in person, but knowing that it's so delicate, that it's so rare, like knowing that it's like that.
50 years. That's some time.
Wow. Wow.
So had you ever heard that song before, like the full thing, not just the sample?
I haven't heard the full thing.
Escapism. No. There's also a version that was done, so it's been sampled like, probably 150 times or something. There's a version that someone in the mid-90s did. It was more than just a sample. It was called Escape. Like 94. I can't remember who it is. But they did they sort of buried the saxophone in the mix a little bit more, but it still has that sample in there. It was really good.
Gotcha. So around Portland, where would you say is the best spots to crate dig?
Oh man, I can't give away my spots.
Oh, you have to.
I would say I should just throw everyone off the scent.
Yeah, just throw a little bit.
Yeah, don't go to the Goodwills. Terrible records. Overpriced. No, go there. Go there. That's the best place to crate dig. I'll never give up my spot.
Oh, that's
one
not
spot.
fair.
All right.
You know how it goes.
Oh, man.
Just give him one.
It's only right.
This is a good one. Or
That
was
is a good
that
one.
it?
No, that wasn't it. No.
Here we go.
I
Plug
can't
one of your
do it.
homies. Plug one of your homies.
I can't do it. Oh, like just a record store? I would say like the record stores I like are I like Exile Records on Hawthorne.
Yeah.
Shouts out.
I like Mississippi Records. I like.
Okay.
I mean, anyone who has a record store, if they're holding it down in 2018, then they are.
That's some real
Nice.
shit.
That's my favorite
right?
people right
They
there.
still
That's fun.
standing, yeah.
I like that. That's funky. That's
You're
funky.
finding definitely rare gems and these places that you will not disclose.
I thought you guys meant like my heart, like my secret, like where I go to find records. For
No,
50,
like just
50
like on the
cents each.
daily, like you're just like, okay, I'm just checking out what they got. I'll be
Yeah,
buying,
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like Mississippi Records. They got a good selection over there.
Mississippi. Shouts out.
Yes.
Hey, okay. So,
What about Spec Records? Have you ever located in the Denver area?
No?
I love that place.
Okay.
No, I really do. I don't know if they can hear, but I walk past there every day after work, and I really, really want to buy a record player. And I go in there and I thumb through the records, and I've seen Vincent in there, and they got a nice, setup of, sometimes a DJ in the background and the incense and just the whole atmosphere.
Right.
And it's tucked away, but I love it. I love it, and it's right next to the Multnomah, County Library. And so if you have not checked them out, definitely go there and do some crate digging.
All right, I will.
And yeah,
it's a good vibe, good environment. Hey, you can read a book.
Yes, exactly. Pick up a book and go next door and do some crate digging at
All right.
Spec Records.
You should get a record player.
Yes, oh my gosh. Once I get one, I will be just digging. I'll be like, all right, we're closing now. It's time to go.
Seriously, you can really be like digging for like a good 40 minutes.
Right.
And you're supposed to come there just to grab something. It's like, man, where have my time gone?
Right.
Yeah. I spend a lot of time. 45s are particularly brutal
Yeah.
to dig through piles of 45s, but that's where the real action is.
Oh.
If you want to find stuff, a lot of things were released on
But it's
45
just
that
so
never put out on album.
Very costly.
Yeah.
How do you find stuff? Do you like look on the internet first, or do you just go in there and just?
I used to seek out more sort of specific things, and I still do occasionally, if there's something I really want. But a lot of times I'm sort of like at the whims of the universe. What am I going to run across? Because, I have enough good stuff now in my collection that I don't need to seek things out as much. It's more just like what will I run into? I would never find this, whatever this thing is, like the Bobby Africa 45.
You're sitting well right now. You're just like, I might not have that,
That's
but
right.
I got that.
That's right. Yeah, I'm patient. That's the way I like to think about it.
If you have to say how many vinyls you have, how many would you say roughly?
I probably have about maybe 2,500 LPs and like an equal number of 45s. Some 78s too. I have some 78s, like older stuff like that, and acetates as well. But a lot of records.
Okay. That's
My partner, she's very
room?
patient. Yeah, I have it spread out over a couple rooms, and I also have 16 millimeter films, like a collection of those too. So I have a whole basement full of old films.
Ooh. What's your favorite film?
Do you have Casablanca as
I
the
don't.
question?
I don't. I have a couple of feature films. Most of my films are like home movies and educational films and other sort of like, again, more sort of like off the wall or obscure kind of stuff. But I have a couple of feature films, like some Japanese films from Akira Kurosawa, Ikiru. I have Ikiru, 60 millimeter. I have a lot of documentaries and things like that as well. But home movies are my favorite. Like I was saying earlier, I like amateur audio recordings, and I really like amateur home movies as well. Because I think there's like a voice in there that comes through sometimes that you wouldn't see. You don't necessarily see in a more polished, perspective.
Okay. Yeah, I can dig that. So, if you had to think about one film that you want of all time, what would it be? Just one. You're on an island.
Just one. I know it's so hard though when you have there's so many. One film I have in my collection. I have a hard time picking favorites in general, so you can see how hesitant I am to do that. But I will say this because it's another a thing that I'm working on that's related to this. And I have a film in my collection called Malcolm X Speaks from 1971.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it's a documentary made by a black journalist named Gil Noble.
Yeah.
He was a local television journalist in New York City at the time. He made this film, put it out, and then it sort of like disappeared. He also wrote a really great book called Black is the Color of My Television Tube, which everyone who's black journalist, any journalist should read.
Wow.
But
Pick that up.
anyway,
I know.
this film, someone from the Smithsonian Channel contacted me because I did a screening with the Black Creative Collective and Cinema Project last year at Open Signal.
Yeah.
And they saw it on the internet, contacted me, and they're using some of the footage in a new Malcolm X documentary. It's coming out in February.
Oh, wow.
Very
Okay.
So yeah,
nice.
that's my favorite
Just
film right now.
in time.
Gotcha.
Black History
That was nice.
Month.
Yep.
That is perfect. Wow.
Right.
Very nice.
All right.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
So, Stephen, if you could play another vinyl, what would it be?
Right now,
I mean, you don't have to, but just say.
I will.
Please do.
Yeah.
It's James
Yeah,
Brown.
yeah.
I
I know.
Good
We could
vibes,
play the first song on the other side of this James Brown album, which is Blues and Pants.
Okay.
It's long.
Blues and pants. Okay.
That's
We'll play the
okay.
first part of it.
We went from hot pants to blues and pants.
It's about the pants, you know.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
We
If you don't know, the cover is just like,
need to get. I wish we need a shot of this.
say,
All right. Well, I just want to give a shout out again to Open Signal Community Media Center,
okay.
my favorite place in Portland, and to Marvin for
Hey,
inviting
thank
me
you.
on here,
Yeah.
Demetria and Marvin for being great hosts.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you.
Thanks a
Stephen
lot.
Polite. That was really nice, man. Thank you.
Yes. And thank you for sharing the James Brown and the good energy and all that you do. And yes.
Kept it funky.
Yes.
All right.
Very
all right.
much so.
I got a record I'm going to be playing soon. It's Pedro. Mike was supposed to be able to talk about it, but I'm gonna talk about it. Pretty much, this vinyl I picked up from Specs Record. It's about this guy named Pedro. He's from South Africa. He came to Portland, Oregon. He did his album here. It's like 7 tracks, and like it's crazy. It's printed by Musique Plastique. You ever heard of them?
No.
Okay, yeah, it's like a record store, but they publish music too.
Okay, right.
And so they published it, and it was on tape, and they just pressed it to vinyl.
Wow.
Yeah,
Right. Just recently?
yeah, but like a few years back.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
it was like 93.
Right. When it was recorded originally.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it looks nice. I like the cover.
We need to get a shot of that cover because that
Right.
cover is just wonderful.
It's just like his whole face.
Yes.
You know, I'm like, okay,
It's beautiful.
good profile.
Right.
You know?
Right.
But pretty much, it should be playing My God. Let's see. Oh, I hear like some feedback. It's all good. But Open Signal, shouts out. Thank you, Stephen, for coming on. You know, continue to chill with us.
I will.
All right,
Yes,
thank you.
please do.
Yeah, thank you.